Unless you were living under a rock, the college football season is officially back. Last week was week 0 into what looks to be a great college football season. Some of the biggest takeaways from Saturday's week 0 games include UCLA's offense looking very potent, Scott Frost potentially being on the hot seat after losing a close game to a team that has a new head coach and that hasn't coached in several years, so not looking good for him. And of course, the UConn Huskies, who faced off against the Fresno State Bulldogs. Many expected tons of rust since they haven't played in over a year. That sentence may be an understatement. In this video, we'll take a look at UConn's performance and also take a look at their schedule, see what's next for them and what their potential is as a team. If you like football content, college football, or NFL, this is the channel for you. If you go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, and comment down in the comment section to see what or who I should cover next. My goal currently is to reach 1,000 subscribers, and I can only do that with your guys' support, so any and all support is appreciated. But now that business is handled, let's talk about UConn football. It's no secret that UConn came to this game as a huge underdog, and no one thought they would win, but they'd even put up a fight. The first quarter was very competitive as the Huskies defense held the Bulldogs to 35 yards of offense. But once the second quarter hit, their defense could do little to stop the Bulldogs offense, leaving the Huskies offense with little support in order to keep them in the game. By halftime, Fresno State had 359 total yards of offense to UConn's 39, and 12 first downs to UConn's 5, taking a 31-0 lead into the break. The Vegas spread for the entire game was 28 points. It also didn't help that the field temperature was 110 degrees, causing cramps and injuries on both sides. The quarterback play was bad. Sophomore quarterback Jack Zergotis completed only half of his passes and threw for only 61 yards. Zergotis underthrew a lot of passes to the sideline and overthrew wide open receivers multiple times. His offensive line had multiple breakdowns and were very inconsistent, just adding to the poor performance overall on offense. A missed block led to the first score of the game, a strip sack of Zergotis, picked up by Fresno State's Aaron Mosby, who ran it home for a touchdown. After 3 quarters of play, Randy Edsall saw enough, and Stephen Kardrowski got in for some mop-up duty under center in the 4th quarter, but wasn't able to do much either. Quarterback spot was a big question mark coming into the 2021 season for the Huskies, and if Zergotis keeps this up, Edsall has to make a switch to. As for Edsall, if he's not in the hot seat by mid-season, I will be honestly surprised. His second go-around in Stores hasn't been nearly as productive as his first. Like Louisville's former coach Bobby Petrino, Edsall's first go-around at UConn was a great one. He brought the Huskies from the FCS to the FBS, and he was able to bring them to a BCS Bowl in only 7 years in competing in the highest level of college football. As Edsall and the UConn Huskies were growing as a program, he left in a very similar way that Bobby Petrino left Louisville. Edsall, instead of flying back with his team after just playing in the biggest game in program history, he instead decided to fly to Maryland for his job interview, as players learned about his departure through the media and friends and family, and which I think shows little regard for what the players that got you to that point in your career. Especially since Edsall spent over a decade in Connecticut, I think the players at least deserved a goodbye in person from Edsall. The Huskies returned a lot of key players on both sides of the ball, despite a lot of transfers last year since they didn't play at all in 2020. Some of the key players include Kevin Mensah, who is a stud and ran for 1,000 yards last season, but didn't really show that much against Fresno State, only rushing for 40 yards, and linebacker Omar Ford. And despite the Huskies defense being piss poor, he was a very key contributor. We look at their schedule for the rest of the year, and their next game is against Holy Cross at home, which I think should be a gimme. Their next 2 games against Purdue and Army are clear losses in my eyes. We'll see how Purdue looks week 1, but with Jeff Brom on the hot seat and just the overall talent at Purdue being a lot higher than at UConn, I think it should be smooth sailing for the Boilermakers. Army's triple option will, especially with them playing in Lafayette, will rip through a porous Huskies defense if the Huskies defense played any way like they did against Fresno State. So I could see that going very bad for the Huskies as well. Then the next 4 games against Wyoming, Vandy, UMass, and Yale is the first stretch of games that could potentially see the Huskies winning all of them. As you know, Vandy is an SEC bottom dweller and hasn't really been good for a while, so this could be a very intriguing matchup for UConn. In their rivalry game against UMass, it could go either way. UMass played in 4 games last season and were only able to put up 12 points of offense in that span. And then to finish the 4-game stretch, they play Yale, who like UConn didn't play in the 2020 season and will be itching to hit someone in a different jersey. Yale has been a pretty good program in the Ivy League and have been winning consistently, but being in the same boat as the other big in-state school, UConn, I would have to give this one to the Huskies, who, hard to believe, would have the advantage of having more talent and better coaching, because I just can't see Ivy League players competing with athletes that are recruited at the FBS level, even though UConn is not highly regarded in any of their recruiting at all. Now, for the last 4-game stretch, I think the Huskies only get 1 win potentially out of the next 4 games that they play on their schedule. They kick things off against Middle Tennessee State, who went 3-6 last year, so another toss-up for the Huskies, but I think they have an opportunity to win this one. Then they head on the road to Death Valley to play Clemson, who will obviously handle UConn fairly easily, and will just be a tune-up game for DJ Uyunglele. And then their last 2 games are against former ACC foes UCF and Houston, who I both think are better programs right now and shouldn't really have an issue dealing with UConn, especially UCF, who, despite them having a weird rivalry which really makes no sense geographically, Knights have really destroyed the Huskies in the past few years when the Huskies were still competing in the ACC. I always like to listen to Vegas, and according to them, the Huskies are favored to finish the season at 2-5 wins, which seems about right, but I honestly wouldn't be shocked if they go winless. I think UConn's solution here is just to get rid of Edsall and hire a coach that is committed to building a program from scratch and raising the brand awareness of UConn, and of course, if their basketball team does well. Honestly, here's my solution to UConn football. I know I've talked about UConn before. You guys should honestly go check that video out. It's one of my first videos, so this could set UConn up nicely into moving to a Power 5 conference, especially with the whole conference realignment thing going on right now, which I think would solve a lot of issues that the athletic department has been having financially wise, and also find a home for the football team in one of the best football conferences in the country. I could see them in the ACC, which is a great basketball conference which would gladly take historic basketball programs in. And for football, former rivalries with BC and Syracuse could be renewed. And just to wrap things up, as a lifelong Connecticut resident, I hope the program can turn around. I think a few changes internally could make a world of a difference, but we honestly just gotta wait and see what the future holds. But this season will really just be a test of whether Edsall can outperform expectations for an outrageous contract that he has that has so many, weird stipulations and marks that he has to meet in order to make extra money. So UConn should only give him this season and next season, and if he doesn't show any room for improvement at all, we gotta get rid of him. I mean, simple as that. But thank you guys for watching the video. I really appreciate it. Make sure you smash that like button and smash that notification bell so we can get this video in the algorithm. My goal currently right now is to reach 1,000 subscribers, because that's the minimum to get monetized, to be honest with you. So I'm trying to reach that goal as fast as possible. So any and all help is appreciated, guys. I really do appreciate any and all of you who are watching my videos, and hope to grow this channel as big as I possibly can. And I'm definitely, once NFL season starts, I'm going to be focusing in on some NFL content too as well. And while we wait for the NFL season to start, you guys should check out some of my other content. I appreciate the support, guys, and until next time, 1.